Hi, I'm Kristie Clayton, founder and visionary of HERverse. HER is an acronym for Helping Executives Rise. Welcome to ConvHERsations with Kristie, where we dive into real, raw, and inspiring conversations with incredible leaders. You see, at HERverse, we're not just a community, we're a movement, a space where women leaders rise together, support one another, and celebrate our collective success. Whether you're leading as a second in command, steering the vision as the visionary or founder, or driving impact with your company as a leadership team member, HERverse was designed for you. Our mission is to provide resources, coaching, and peer support that you need to grow confidently in your leadership journey. Through memberships like Female Executive Mastermind and the Lead Her community, along with events like workshops and summits, and even personalized coaching, we are here to help women embrace their strengths, overcome challenges, and truly thrive. And that's what ConvHERsations with Kristie is about too. It's a space to share the golden nuggets of wisdom that come from authentic, heartfelt, real conversations. There's no scripts, there's no fluff, just honest insights from leaders who are leading boldly and making an impact. See, I believe leadership isn't something you do alone. It's a journey we navigate, and we don't have to do that alone. We can do it together, because together we rise. Now, let's get started with today's conversation. I am confident you are going to love it. Let's talk about Rebecca and James, who are here with me today. I'm so excited to have you here. Would you all like to introduce yourselves and what you all do?
Sure. You want me to kick it off? I will. My name is James. I'm from the northwest of England, a little area called the Hill. I studied in London and came across the US in '99. My official title, I guess, is CEO of Dad Operations. You know, I'm the stay-at-home parent. It's the most rewarding yet difficult job I've ever done. I can tell you that.
Well, thanks for having us, Kristie. We're really excited. My name's Rebecca Lockwood, and I am a business coach, previous EOS implementer and Pinnacle guide, and really excited, Kristie. We've been knowing each other really since I really first started my journey into the entrepreneurial world. So excited to be here today.
It's been super exciting for me to watch, where you were starting off. Actually, when we first met, you were an integrator of a company running on EOS, and then you started your coaching, and now you've created this beautiful system that is for couples. And so I know this is something that's really deeply personal for you all. So I would love for you all to share some of your story and how the cohesive couple came about for you all.
I'll take it away then. Well, Rebecca lived in this business world, and I was kind of living in the chaos of, surviving and dealing with real life, kids, routines, and, it became very overwhelming. And Rebecca you were doing the business coaching and bringing back these things like rocks. I mean, I had no idea what that was at the time. She'd bring back all these concepts. And I'll be honest, we were struggling in our marriage. We were living in two different worlds. I was very much the stay-at-home parent, and Rebecca was living this life and having all these great thought leaders and working with all these great businesses, and we were heading in different directions.
Yeah, that's true. So it was interesting. I'd never thought about being an entrepreneur, to be perfectly honest, right? I thought you did the thing. You went to college, you got good grades, you got a job, you worked harder. And so being exposed to entrepreneurial world was so amazing for me, because I all of a sudden found or felt like I belonged, right? Mm-hmm. It was so interesting. And I got to be in different peer groups and meet amazing people like you that just were always learning and growing. And so, I just struggled with, how do you balance all of the things, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to be a good wife, trying to be a mom, small kids at home, trying to grow a business. And it was really, really challenging. And what's so funny is I thought to myself, man, all of these things that I'm experiencing, not enough time, right? Running in different directions, not communicating well. I do this for my clients every day. Like, I go in and I help clients get better teamwork, work together better as a team, get their vision down on paper. And it was just this sort of aha moment of like, why am I not trying to apply some of these things to our own relationship? So that was where we called it the Cohesive Couple. We have a book by that name. We have an amazing community that we've built of couples that are now running on an operating system, couples relationship operating system. And it's been so incredibly transformative, not only in our relationship, but also as we've started to share it with others.
Nice.
It was crazy when you came home and like, let's have a weekly meeting. I mean, like that just sounded like tragic to me. I mean, like, your parents are coming over this weekend. Lucas, our son, is sick, and you want us to sit down and have a meeting? Like, why do we need to have a meeting? We're married. Like, we just need to figure it out. That's not what you do in relationships. And it's been this evolution of me growing and seeing what you actually do in the business world and applying that to our relationship. And it's just, it's changed the direction, of course, of where we're heading.
I love that. I did the same thing. I brought home the tools to my husband and I was like, we need to have a weekly meeting and we need to do, rocks. And he was like, I'm so sorry. What? What are you talking about? And it's always interesting when we do bring the business concepts home, but it works. So share, how has this worked for you all?
Yeah, I mean, it's so one of the things as we were really committing to try to make our relationship work. At one point we actually almost divorced. And we said, you know what, we have kids. Like, I don't want to only spend 50% of my time with kids. At some point I remember that I used to love you a lot. Like, let's try to figure this thing out. Right. And so, we tried a lot of things, going to one-off, a marriage retreat or working with a therapist and a lot of different things. But, it doesn't create the ongoing it doesn't keep going, right? It's like you leave the retreat, you look at the workbook, it sits on the shelf and you don't look at it again. And so what we really needed was something that kept the momentum going and kept us coming back together. And so I know you and your husband, I think, do quarterlies and annuals, right? Amazing, right? So it's like, okay, this quarter something happened, right? My dad got sick one quarter and, everything goes out the window, right? Because you're just focusing on that and you can't focus on real life, right? And it's okay, because then you get to look back, reflect what happened, how did we show up, right? And restart all over again. So I think that's a little bit about, how it works, right? We've really built this collection of tools that then become an ongoing process that you can just keep getting better and better with.
I think when you first get married or you first get into a relationship, there's all this chemistry, there's all this raw emotion, and that's, you get married, you make all these decisions based on a whim, and that energy is what keeps you together. But then over time, it's like routine starts to take over. The chore list, who's paying the electric bill, who's picking up the kids, who's, and I think we just, you'd moved in this direction of business coaching, and I was holding the family together at home, and we'd moved in different directions, and we didn't recognize each other. We were, it's the importance of actually sitting down and getting back on the same page. And I remember when you asked me, like, where do you want to be in like 30 years? And I'm like, well, not changing diapers for a start, but that's life.
Yeah, I think James had forgotten how to dream. And, I'm sure, Kristie, that you and I could never, ever possibly stop learning how to dream because we just do it all day, every day. In fact, we have so many dreams that we can't actually execute on all of them all at the same time, right? So this whole process really allowed us to stop having our own versions of what we wanted to do and kind of bring that back together and not worry about the how, just worry about, okay, what's next? Like, just worry on the next 90 days, just focus on that.
That was a huge shift for me because I'm all about the how. I need the details. And, you're like, where do you want to be in 30 years? Well, how are we going to get there?
He's an 8 fact finder. Yeah. So there you go.
I love it. It seems like visionary integrator, right? Like
a little bit.
Very much so, right?
For sure.
So it really sounds like, for me, what I'm hearing from you is these tools and these resources that you've put together have really helped you do two things. First of all, is just truly align, and come back together. But it's also a lot about communication and, being able to share and vision and do all of the things together. Would that be accurate?
100%, 100%. The first time I did the Kolbe was like this major aha moment for me. And I was like, man, I'm not reckless. I just am a 9 quick start. And it was really freeing. And I remember I sent it to James right away. I said, oh, you need to take this. And he sent me back his assessment. And I'm like, oh, I've solved all the problems ever in our communication with each other, right? And I think it actually kind of caused an argument initially because he's like, what are you talking about? But it's so interesting. I'm a low fact finder and a high quick start. And James is a very high fact finder and a 2 quick start. Mm-hmm. And so it just, it gave us language and understanding about each other. So now when I've got an idea, right, I have to bring it earlier or I have to bring it, and let it sit a little bit and let him think about it. And it's also helped slow me down, right? Because there's a lot of times where I'm like, oh, I wish I hadn't gone in that direction. And if I use James for that to pressure test things, it just makes us stronger together when we understand each other and we can put some words around it. Like, hold on, slow down. You need to slow your row for a second there, girl.
Yes. No, I totally understand. I love that you all have taken Kolbe together because my husband and I have too. I'm 6'7", 7'1". He's 4'4", 4'7". Wow. Right. But it helps us understand one another. Right. And what I love about whether it's weekly meetings or quarterlies or annuals is it's building that vision. Like, what do we want to do? And it's being intentional about the decisions that we're making. Because I don't know about you all, but I truly believe marriage is a very conscious and intentional decision that you get to make. You get to choose to stay together and to do the things that make that happen or not. But this really creates that for you.
It gives you that greater good, right? Because you're never going to agree with everything, right? But you can be aligned on it. And I think getting core values and really understanding what those were for each of us and what they are for us as a family and as a couple, it's really helped us make good decisions and become this filter to say, yeah, that is a good decision. Or am I really living? I say this thing is important to me, but are my actions actually showing that, right? And it allows you to reflect and, eat some humble pie sometimes. And yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never heard of the Kolbe before Rebecca brought it home. I mean, just, my little insular world of looking after the kids and sports practices and all that kind of fun stuff that I was managing. And just the fact that, we do that with all the couples coming through our program. We do the Kolbe and love languages as well. I hadn't heard that before we started investigating down this road. I mean, I wish somebody had given us the love language quiz instead of a crock pot for our wedding present. Rebecca's, her love language is quality time. I always go back to the bathroom story when we were living in Dallas. And I'm like, because I decided to redesign the bathroom for her. Give it
acts of service is what I think you were going for there.
And I designed it, built it, spent weeks making sure the tile was perfect, the tub. She's going to love this. But all she was saying was, you don't want to have dinner with me? You're not spending time with me? Am I not important to you? I handed it over to her expecting accolations and oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to hit some major home runs here. And she's like, You
sound horrible now.
No, what I love is, Rebecca, it's truth, right? I mean, I'm assuming, James, that you were probably acts of service.
Yes.
Yes. And Rebecca's quality time. So for her, she saw your active service that you would have received as a love language and an expression of love. She was receiving it as taking time away from you all. Yep. So it's whether it looks bad or not, because Rebecca, I hear that all the time with people, right? In business and in, personal life that, oh my goodness, this assessment makes me look bad. No, my friend, it helps you know who you are and how to interact with others. And when you know theirs too, it's a great way, just to have those conversations of, wow, I can now recognize that James doing that was him having an act of service, which was expressing his love. I just didn't receive it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We weren't talking the same language. It was and I think that was part of the problem in our early years of marriage is that we didn't know about Kolbe. We didn't know about love languages. You only know what you know. There's no operating manual for getting into a relationship, and I think we were missing those fundamentals, and they don't teach them at school. You just have to, you have to figure it out. And I think that's part of the problem. And people give up, and we nearly gave up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
James, what was it that made you want to really like, I don't want to get up? What was a shift there that happened? Was it really truly the operating system, or was there a moment that you were like, nope, this is my forever?
I think, for me, I had to have a huge mindset shift, that we talk about that in our program, and that being one of the foundational elements. Because to begin with, I was blaming Rebecca. It was all about how she was showing up, what she was doing to kill the relationship. It was all about if she would change, then things would get better. And I really needed to flip that around and look at myself and what I was bringing. And once I made that shift, and it was, I had this personal coach, she like hit me across the head with a 2x4 on a call one day. And that was the moment when I shifted, I think, and started saying, well, the way I'm showing up is not great. And, the only person I can really change, I can't control Rebecca. She started this business, her coaching career in the middle of COVID, everything collapsed. I was like, why would you do that? In COVID, started coaching career. All their clients pressed pause. And I felt like the rug had been taken out. There was no security for our family. And I found that reckless. And I found that, but it was me wanting to control her. At one point, I wanted her to fail and come back to me, and then I would have been right and she would have been wrong. But it's not about that. It's about the only person I can control in this world is myself, and how I show up and what I bring to the relationship. And if I choose to put problems between us or in front of us, where we fix them as a team. So I think that realization for me was huge.
I think one of the things that I've really realized is your relationship, you can only have the relationship that matches your level of thinking, right? So if you want a better relationship, you have to change the way that you're thinking about it, and you have to change the way that you show up and the mindset that you bring into the relationship. And so your relationship will never grow beyond that level of your thinking.
Right. It's kind of like, you know me well enough to know affirmations are a huge thing for me, right? So I am, well, whatever that I am, whatever you say after that, that is your state of being, right? So if you are saying, I'm giving up on this marriage, then you are.
Yeah.
You are giving up. If you are saying, hey, I am committed, like we're going to restore this and we are going to work through the hard things, then you will. But whatever that is that happens after that I am, that is your state of being, and that is what you will or will not achieve.
Absolutely.
I think that's such an awesome point, because I think social media and Hollywood, they paint this relationship. It should just be easy. Yeah. It's effortless. It should just happen. Yeah. And relationships aren't like that. It's like this, the people who are succeeding and hitting and thriving in their relationships aren't 10 times better at us at marriage. They're just consistent and relentless.
Yeah.
That it takes dedication, it's like,
but I think it also takes, open and honest, right? We talk about open and honest and vulnerable, right? It takes that ability to just say, hey, this isn't working. And I'm not saying it's your fault. Like, this just isn't working. So how can we make something better? What's another option? If that doesn't work, we can try something different, right? And just being very problem or solutions oriented around problems.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that, because I think early days when we had an argument, it was me versus you.
And now it's just in front of us, right? It's just an issue. An issue is just an issue, right?
Especially when you have a shared vision.
It's one of my favorite sayings. An issue is just an issue, and we can tackle it, right? When we see it as just an issue, we can tackle the issue. But when we start putting people in it, it does become that friction and that argument, right?
And emotions and egos and hurt and yeah.
Right.
Exactly. When you have a shared vision, when you're planning 30 years out, it's like, well, okay, so is that really going to get us there? Is this argument that we're having right now, or this disagreement, this problem? Like, once you have that shared destination, that common goal,
just helps you say no to things that aren't aligned without it having to even be an argument. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I'm so excited for you all because I know this has been a journey for you all, and not only you putting the operating system together and launching it and having this beautiful thing for other couples, but it's been so profound in your relationship. I do want to just thank you for being vulnerable enough to share that too, right? A lot of people wouldn't, right? They would hide this part of themselves in their relationship from others. And the fact that you all have been are being open and honest about, hey, we got here because of how our relationship was being impacted is really, really courageous of both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No, I knew this was going to be an amazing conversation. Like I had absolutely no doubt about that. I would love to kind of wrap up our conversation by asking you three rapid fire questions. One is all about honor, right? Looking back at previous generations and wanting to honor that woman or that person that has been really impactful for you. So I'm really curious, who is a woman that you all would like to honor?
I think being British, I mean, it'd have to be Margaret Thatcher. I mean, like
Wow.
Iron Lady, and when you think of England, you think of Margaret Thatcher, almost before the Queen. No, but I'm not going to. She's just an amazing woman that had such drive and determination and wouldn't take no for an answer. I think she's just, the Iron Lady.
I love that. Almost before the Queen. I love it. Rebecca, what about you?
Yeah. So I don't know if this counts. I break the rules, right? But I think I'm going to do my grandmother, even though she's actually still alive. She's 99. She still plays bridge with the young ones, the 70-year-olds. She just has this amazing, positive, the future is always brighter attitude. She's actually, I was so excited to get to go to Denmark for her 100th birthday, but she said, no, all my grandkids live in the States, so I'm going to fly there, so it's not as far for everybody to fly. So she's actually flying to the States for her 100th birthday in November, which is amazing.
Wow, that is amazing. Way to go, Grandma. I love it. My grandmother's near and dear to my heart too, so grandmothers have a special place in my heart. What about empower? What is a woman of a current generation that's either in business or leadership that you are just like, wow, this person truly empowers me to show up as my absolute very best self, or someone that you hope to, empower to be their best?
Well, for me, there's no question it'd be Lisa Carpenter. She is the coach that had that 2x4 and hit me across the head. And she's just, again, relentless at, she has this ability to put a mirror in front of you and say, what about you? And she changed the direction of my life and probably saved my marriage as well.
Oh, I love that. What about you?
So Kristie, I have always been so fascinated following your journey. I've always felt like you've had amazing courage, and you've had a vision. You've been so clear on what your vision was. Maybe not the how, right? But you've been very clear on what the end result was. And I've always been very inspired by you. So I'm actually going to say you, Kristie.
Wow. Thank you, Rebecca. That's very, very kind of you. I appreciate that. And I'm not going to get emotional. Or I am.
I love you.
What about inspire? Who is a woman of a future generation that you hope to inspire? I have a feeling this one's going to be easy.
Well, we only have one daughter.
Yeah, I was going to say Layla, our daughter. She is. I love her, but I wish she'd just give me a timeout sometimes, because she's so driven and so focused on where she wants to go. She's either going to be like a cutthroat New York attorney that she can argue till the cows come home. But she has this love and generosity about her as well. I think she's going to do amazing things. I know
I love that.
Yeah, I think I think it's Layla for sure, our daughter. I see so much of me in her. I want to give her some tools that I wish I had, when I was younger, to make things just a little bit easier, because I think it's so easy to have self-doubt or imposter syndrome. And, when I start to see those moments, I wonder how, exposing her. For me, it was exposure. And so how can I expose her to different things? And I think it's just girls of that generation. How do we give them tools to be really confident? And, whether it's the affirmations that you're using in the morning, right? Whatever those tools are that allow you to really step into yourself without doubting yourself, because so many things we don't reach our full potential because of the doubts that we have around ourselves. So I think I would choose Layla and all 10-year-old girls out there that need to hear that.
Yes, I love that. It's a difficult age to be at as a young girl, right? That 10 to teens is what I would say. It's a fun and exciting time to watch them blossoming as young ladies. But there's a lot of things going on in their heads. So I love that both of you picked her. Again, this was so fun. Thank you for coming on and sharing your story. Thank you for being vulnerable, for being, open and honest about what's happening in your world. And I am extremely excited to see where all of this goes and, how you all take the cohesive couple to the world.
Thank you so much, Kristie. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you. So thank you.
Thanks again.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining this week. It was such a pleasure, and I can't wait to see you again next week.